of a vlog today. I'm going to put up a video that I did the other day, a cinnamon roll, homemade cinnamon roll video. And I got the recipe from Cook with April, same place I got the caramel sauce recipe, and they were absolutely delicious. The only thing that I would change is I would cut back the frosting. There was way too much frosting on there, so that's what I'm going to do today in lieu of a vlog. So I decided I wanted to make some cinnamon rolls, and I had seen a video that was done by April Athena 7, but it's on her cooking channel, which is Cook with April. Anyway, she imitates she makes her version, not imitates, but makes her version of the Cinnabon cinnamon rolls, and they look so delicious that I have to try them. So she uses her bread machine, so I'm going to use mine, and I'm going to follow her recipe exactly, because I went and wrote it all down just to make sure I got it all right. Okay, the first thing she does is puts her cup of warm milk in her bread machine. It's kind of dark in this corner, and I apologize. And then she puts in 2 eggs. Okay. And then she adds 1/3 of a cup of melted butter. And I'm doing all this one-handed, so hopefully I can do it well enough. Pardon me. And then she adds 1/2 cup of sugar. So let's kind of spread that in there. Okay. And then she adds 4 cups of flour. So it's 2 eggs, by the way, 1 cup of warm milk, 2 eggs, 1/3 of a cup of melted butter. Let me find out where to put that. 1/2 cup of sugar. Let me finish putting my flour in here. And then 1 package of the dry yeast. So, let's see. Let's kind of make a little well in there. I always do that. I don't know why. I'm weird. And then I kind of sprinkle in there. There you go, guy. Okay, then we close it up. And we put it on the dough setting. On mine, it is number 7. And then hit start. Then you're going to put it in a bowl and cover it with a plastic wrap. Now what I found is that California is a much drier climate than where I live. I live in Oklahoma, so we do have humidity. So I had to add just a tiny bit more flour to it because it was still way too wet. So if you live in a climate like I do, that it's really humid and not as dry, you might want to add just a little bit more flour. I wouldn't go crazy with it. I would just add a tiny bit at a time until it gets to where you need it to be. So after you put it in your bowl and cover it with saran wrap, you're going to let it set for 30 minutes to rise. Okay, so for your filling, you're going to use 2 tablespoons of cinnamon and 1 cup of brown sugar. And I agree with April. It's best to make sure you get all the clumps out, so the best way to do that is with your hand. So that is what I'm doing also. I mean, you can mix it with a fork. I wouldn't do like a whisk. A fork would probably be best if you're going to use a utensil. But to get all the lumps out, to do it, you'd have to use your hands to get all the lumps out. I mean, you don't have to. Some people are really good at getting them out with utensils. Not me, not so much. So, also, if you find that your brown sugar has gotten a little bit hard, what you can do with it is, take it out of the bag. I wouldn't heat it in the bag, but put it in a container that's microwave safe, and then just heat it for like 10 to 15 seconds, and then it softens it up. So That way you don't have to throw it out. Now I would not do that to the whole bag and then put it back in the cabinet. I would take out what I need, or about what I need, and heat it up and then go from there. Okay, so I'm gonna wait for my dough to rise and then we'll be rolling it out. Okay, for your cinnamon rolls, you're going to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Then on a floured surface, you're going to get your dough out that has definitely gotten a whole lot bigger. I don't know if it totally doubled in size. Yeah, I think it did. Anyway, let's see if he'll dump out. I just made a big old mess. Hang on a minute. Come out of there, you. Might need to get a spatula. We don't want to leave anybody behind. Oh yeah, that definitely doubled in size. See if we can add that in, because I'll need it just a little bit. Alright. Get this guy out the way. I don't know why I've been in my kitchen so much today, but I have. Get my brown sugar cinnamon mixture out of the way. I'll sprinkle a little bit of flour on top. I've already floured my rolling pin. Flip him over. Alright. Now I'm going to roll this out to about 1/4 inch. She didn't say how far, or she measured hers out, I think, at 11 by 14 or something like that. But I'm going to roll mine out, since I don't have one of those mats, to about 1/4 inch thick. Okay, now you're going to, once you get it all rolled out, you're going to cover the surface with butter. I used a semi-melted butter and a spatula to spread it. And then you're going to sprinkle on your cinnamon sugar mixture. You're just going to want to sprinkle it all around. If you run into any lumps, you might get those out. I've got a few there. Okay, I have my brown sugar cinnamon mixture on there. I do still have a few lumps, but they're really no big deal. So now I'm going to start rolling. Let's see, where's a good place to put this? Yeah, rolling. I'm going to try and put you guys right here. Hopefully that'll work. And I'm going to start on this end. So you want to gently roll. If it sticks to your counter or your surface, just with your fingers, tap a little bit of flour underneath there. It will come up. Or you can use a spatula to lift it. And when I say spatula, I mean a rubber spatula. Like this. There we go. Now that I got it all good and started, it's rolling pretty good. And you know what I like about this recipe? It's not overwhelming. See, I tap my spatula in that little bit of flour there, and that'll help you lift it, and it won't put too much flour on your rolled up cinnamon rolls. But you know, there are a lot of recipes that are just really overwhelming, and this one and the caramel really are not. They're so simple. I come in and cook dinner every night for my family, but you know, I used to do a whole lot of baking, and then I got out of baking. And it's not that I don't like it, because I love to bake, I love the end reward of baking. It's that standing in the kitchen for long periods of time doesn't work well with my body anymore. So I don't do a whole lot of baking anymore. I love to bake though. It's one of my favorite things to do as far as cooking goes, is baking. I'm almost to the end. We'll go ahead and lift him up. Then I'm going to dust off some of this cinnamon. Hang on a minute. He's not sticking real well. There we go. Now I'm going to turn him. I don't know why I keep calling it a him. It could be a her. Move some of that flour out of the way. So some of it will fall off as you go. And then instead of using a knife and smashing it, I'm going to do exactly what April did, and I'm going to use dental floss. Dental floss is fantastic for cutting any kind of pastry. And also, don't use a waxed dental floss. Use a dental floss that it does not have any wax on it. So slide it down through here and then just pull like that. And there you go. Now I'm going to do that and make all of my pieces. And I'm going to put them in a buttered baking dish. Another thing, if you found that you haven't rolled it tight enough, just gently unroll it and re-roll it. Okay, now it's time for them to go in the oven. I had a few extras and I put them in a different pan. So I'm going to pop these in the 400-degree preheated oven. It's best if you put them on there when they're good and hot. Something that I figured out while topping these is really that was entirely too much frosting. You only need about half of that recipe. Okay. So Andy's trying the homemade cinnamon rolls that I got from Cook with April. Outside of too much frosting.
Good stuff.
Oh, good.
So it's dark and I apologize for that, but it's almost 1 a.m. I've been editing the cinnamon roll video. So I hope you guys give these a try. We really enjoyed them. However, again, I would cut back the frosting, and I'm going to put up my frosting that I use, the one that I've used for years and years. I don't even remember where I got the recipe. I hope I'm not trying to catch a head cold. Kind of feels like it and sounds like it. Anyway, this is the frosting that I used is one that I've used for years and years. Don't remember where I got the recipe, like I said. I apologize. But it was way too much frosting, so what I would probably do is instead of cutting it in half, I would only use about a third. So I would break it up into thirds, and I would freeze 2 of the 1/3 portions for a later time, and then use just a third on it. And the next time I make them, I think that's what I'm going to do, so that'd be easier, then I won't have to make the frosting the next 2 times. Anyway, I hope you guys give them a try. They are absolutely delicious. And to April, that is a wonderful recipe. I look forward to trying more of your recipes, and I appreciate you posting them so that they can be enjoyed and tried and enjoyed, not enjoyed and tried. Anyway, you guys knew what I meant. I hope y'all have a great night and a glorious tomorrow. See you then.